All right, Business 101. This is the cost of being in business, otherwise known as overhead. So you've done all your work up to now. If you have, this is the first video you guys are checking out, go into my description. I have all the videos in this series listed. If you're watching it right away, there's obviously the videos after this are not going to be listed because I have not posted them yet, but we'll get into it. So the cost of being in business, you've done all your homework, you've gotten your business license, you've gotten all the, you're legal, you got insurance, if you need bonding, you got your bonding, you've done your homework, your Google page and website, and you got some some leads coming into the business. So now, before you price jobs, before you go quote jobs, you need to know how much it costs you to be in business, because without knowing what the cost of being in business is, you can't really accurately quote your jobs. Because if you're going in there thinking you can, a basic bathroom job is going to cost you $2,000, no, that's just the bare minimum. If a homeowner chucking the truck was doing it with no overhead, absolutely no overhead, he might be able to get away with it with no material cost or anything like that. But for you, you got overhead. So let's go into it. What is overhead? Overhead's basically when you wake up in the morning, what does it cost you? How much does it cost you? But without even turning your truck on, without even going anywhere to any job site, without anything, what does it cost you to be in business? I.e., is your business at a leased office? Is it at your house, your mortgage payment? If it's basically you're leasing or you have a property where you have all your equipment, your tools and stuff, that you got to pay that bill no matter what, right? So mortgage, insurance, all your insurance, you got to have insurance, right? So it's gonna be, regardless of you going to a job, selling a job, doing work, you got to pay your insurance. You're gonna have to pay your vehicle expenses if you have a van, a truck, trailer. This is all paid for, but you still have to pay to insure it, which falls under the insurance as well. So that's all overhead, regardless of what you do. You wake up in the morning, what does it cost you, regardless of lifting one impact, to drive one nail, anything, what does it cost you to be in business? Also, after your vehicle expensive, your payroll. You got to pay yourself, right? You're not doing this for no reason. Now, again, if you're doing LLC, S Corp, doing business ads, they're all different on ways of paying yourself. But for me, I know I pay myself, and I pay my family an income based on what I charge for my labor. Basically, I'm charging my business my labor rate, if that makes any sense to you whatsoever. So and then I would also say other resources, other expenses, being CPA, certified public accountant, personal accountant, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure exactly which one's right, so somebody in the comment section can correct me on that one. And a lawyer too. So I'd absolutely recommend those two. A lawyer, because you need a contract, regardless. You're not going to just be doing $30, $40 jobs. You're going to need a contract for multiple day jobs. And you need to know, it basically goes back into communication with the customer. They sign a contract, it protects you and the customer. Also lets them know that you're a little more legit, because I know there's a lot of contractors out there that don't even do contracts. And I mean, it's he said, she said. If something happens, and then obviously more than likely the customer's always going to win because the contractor doesn't do their own homework. So and the CPA for taxes, absolutely. I do all the work, but he does all the taxes, and it saves me so much time. I think I pay him $5 something just to do my taxes per year, which is super cheap. I really appreciate that. And I basically just send him my QuickBooks, and boom, 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 and he tells me what I owe or how much I'm getting back, or however. And it's both from myself and my wife as well. So absolutely, CPA and a lawyer for your contracts and then those fees are rolled in. You divide them up by monthly and by hourly, and you basically get to what you have. When you divide $500 into a monthly and then into an hourly per month, it's really a small amount. But you gotta save that money for them. It's an expense. It's overhead. You gotta pay taxes no matter what. So it doesn't matter. You need to charge. Basically, so say if you take all that together, so your mortgage, insurance, vehicle, everything, into a year, how much it's going to cost you for the entire year, divided by 12, that's your monthly overhead, and then divide that by how many hours that month you want to work. So if it's 40 hours a week and you get 4 weeks in that month to work, you got to divide it by each hour, and then from that exactly that's the amount that it costs you to be in business. That's not profit. That's not taxes. That's nothing. That's just the bare minimum. So you don't want to charge that for your hourly rate. You want to at least triple it. I would say at least triple it. So say if it comes in at, you know, say we'll just call it even $200 a day for all your overhead. You got more, you know, you got your vehicle, your mortgage. It could be less, it could be more. $200 a day for just for you to wake up in the morning, and that's what, you know, you're shoveling out the door, just to be employed by yourself, being self-employed. So I would say at a minimum, triple it, because you got to pay taxes. And then there's also business, you know, you got to have profit. There's additional maintenance for your vehicle that you can't really, it may not be a month, it may be a year, but I would definitely save. So if your overhead is $200, I would say at a minimum, like your daily rate needs to be $600, minimum. Now that depends. If you have other employees, like you got to do your own W-2 taxes and all that kind of stuff. So it could be, you know, I would say $100 a man hour is, you know, safe. If you're paying somebody $25-30 an hour, I would say no less than $90 because of all the liability, paying all the taxes, etc., etc. I go in that in another video, but I say if you have an employee and you're paying them, you know, $20-25 an hour, you know, I'd quadruple that charging a customer because of all the overhead of all the taxes and liability you've got to have. So that's how you price it now. After you got your overhead down, then you can actually kind of get an idea of what it's going to take for you to bid a job and how many days it's going to take you, plus materials and etc., etc. So that's overhead in a nutshell. There's a bunch of other things. Every business has different overhead. Every business has, even identical people, if they're twins and they have exactly this, there might have, somebody has a different insurance rate because they had a car crash. So everybody's overhead is different. So like and subscribe if I've earned it. I appreciate you guys. See you in the next video.